Some stories don't just unfold, they haunt you. And Reminders of Him is exactly that kind of story. A tale of love, loss, and second chances that will keep you guessing at every turn. Based on Colleen Hoover's best-selling 2022 novel, Reminders of Him takes us deep into the life of Kenna Rowan, played by the mesmerizing Maika Monroe, whose past is as dark as her desire to reclaim her future. Imagine this. You're released from prison, you've lost the love of your life, and your child has been taken from you. Every face you see is a reminder of what you've lost. Every place you go, every sound, every memory, a ghost of your past. But what happens next changes everything. Kenna Rowan was just 20 when tragedy struck. She and Scotty Landry, played in flashbacks by Rudy Panko, were involved in a horrific car accident. Scotty dies, Kenna survives, but she is convicted of involuntary manslaughter. The guilt is crushing, but that's not all. While in prison, Kenna discovers she's pregnant. She gives birth to a daughter, Diem, but the baby is immediately placed in the care of Scotty's parents, Grace and Patrick, portrayed by Lauren Graham and Bradley Whitford. 7 years later, Kenna is finally free. She returns to her hometown, a place filled with ghosts of the past, and her only goal is simple, yet seemingly impossible, to reconnect with her daughter. But there's a problem. Grace and Patrick want nothing to do with her. They blame her for their son's death and view her as unworthy of ever meeting Diem. And standing firmly between them is Ledger Ward, Scotty's best friend and the man who has been raising Diem like his own. Played by Tyriq Withers, Ledger is magnetic, guarded, and deeply loyal. He won't let Kenna near her daughter, not without consequences. So we begin our story in a small Wyoming town. Kenna is trying to navigate life outside prison. She's looking for a job, searching for stability, and clinging to hope. Yet every step she takes is a reminder of what she's lost. But Kenna is determined. She walks into stores and restaurants, filling out applications with a criminal record staring back at her. She doesn't hide her past, she owns it. But every rejection pushes her closer to desperation. And that's when the story really starts to get tense, because life doesn't give her anything for free.
Kenna's path to her daughter isn't just blocked by a custody battle, it's blocked by a man who once loved her late boyfriend. Ledger Ward doesn't know her at first. She introduces herself as Nicole, and their first encounters are filled with tension, misunderstanding, and subtle sparks that neither of them expected. No one expected what happens next. Ledger, still grieving the loss of Scotty, has been living a quiet life. He runs a bar that was once a bookstore where Kenna and Scotty spent time together. Ledger is a man torn between loyalty to his late friend and the natural attraction he feels toward Kenna. And Kenna? She's conflicted. She wants to fight for her daughter, but she's slowly falling for the one man standing in her way. The tension builds with every scene. Kenna works at a local grocery store, earning enough to survive, all while writing letters to Scotty, her late boyfriend. These letters aren't just confessions, they're raw, emotional glimpses into her guilt, grief, and longing. She relives that fateful night, asking herself, what if I had done something differently? Meanwhile, Ledger begins to see her not just as Scotty's killer, but as a woman who has suffered, endured, and survived. Slowly, the walls between them begin to crumble. Small gestures, a shared laugh, a protective instinct, moments of vulnerability pull them closer together. But every step forward is fraught with danger. One misstep and Kenna could lose Diem forever. And just when you think you understand the story, the past returns in vivid flashbacks. Scenes of Kenna and Scotty together show the depth of their love, their imperfections, their humanity. But rather than easing the tension, these memories make the present even more complicated. How can Kenna fall for Ledger when Scotty still occupies her heart? How can Ledger reconcile his growing feelings for her with the loyalty he feels to his best friend? No one expected the emotional complexity to hit this hard. Every glance, every conversation carries a weight that feels real, almost too real. And then comes the first major turning point. Kenna discovers the depth of Ledger's bond with Diem. She sees him reading to her daughter, teaching her, protecting her, and she realizes just how high the stakes are. If she wants Diem in her life, she has to win Ledger's trust first, and trust, as we know, is the hardest thing to rebuild after betrayal.
Now the story takes a darker, more suspenseful turn. Secrets about that fateful night slowly unravel. Kenna didn't simply abandon Scotty. The accident, it was far more complicated than anyone knew. She left to find help, but timing, confusion, and her own injuries conspired against her. Ledger, upon learning the truth from Kenna's heartfelt letters, begins to see the situation in a new light. The tension reaches its peak when Patrick, Scotty's father, discovers Ledger's growing connection with Kenna. Fury erupts. In a shocking scene, Patrick confronts Ledger, physically and emotionally. It's a moment that feels almost unbearable, yet necessary. Ledger stands firm, not just for Kenna, but for the truth. He proves to the Landrys that Kenna never intended to harm Scotty, that she has always loved both him and their daughter. Meanwhile, Kenna's past and present collide in unexpected ways. Every attempt to bond with Diem is met with resistance. Every interaction with Grace and Patrick carries the weight of years of resentment. But then, small victories begin to appear. A glance, a smile, a moment of connection, signs that maybe, just maybe, healing is possible. And just when the audience thinks they know how this story will end, the most suspenseful twist emerges. Kenna and Ledger's feelings are undeniable, but their love could destroy everything if the Landrys refuse to forgive. Will they allow a mother back into her child's life, or will pride and grief keep the walls up forever? At this point, the tension is palpable. Every scene crackles with emotion. Every word, every gesture could be the turning point. And as the film approaches its climax, we're left asking, who will survive the ghosts of the past, and who will finally get the second chance they deserve? And then, the resolution. In a heart-stopping finale, Ledger reads Kenna's letters aloud to Grace and Patrick, revealing the depth of her love and guilt. The Landrys finally understand the truth. Grace softens first, offering Kenna the very ring Scotty had planned to give her, a symbol of acceptance, forgiveness, and hope. Patrick, too, begins to heal, embracing Kenna in a way that carries both apology and gratitude. And finally, Kenna meets Diem. The moment is quiet, perfect, and filled with raw emotion. Diem immediately accepts her mother, and the years of separation melt away in a single, beautiful moment. Kenna's journey comes full circle. From a woman imprisoned by guilt and tragedy, she emerges stronger, resilient, and capable of love once again. And with Ledger by her side, the promise of a new future built on honesty, connection, and second chances becomes real. But there's more to this story than just romance. Reminders of Him is about grief, resilience, forgiveness, and the power of human connection. Every letter, every look, every risk Kenna takes is a reminder that life doesn't wait, and love can heal even the deepest wounds. In the end, this adaptation does what many others fail to do. It takes a familiar formula and fills it with heart, emotion, and suspense that keeps you invested from the first frame to the last. It's not just a love story, it's a journey of redemption. If you enjoyed diving into Reminders of Him with me, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep movie explanations and recaps, because every story deserves to be unraveled, and there's always another twist waiting around the corner.